To start this video, we have the perfect comment. What is the origin of Therianthropy Day? Hello everyone, it's your person, Cicada, and happy Therianthropy... Wait. Happy Therianthropy Day! Therianthropy Day is the unofficial celebration of alterhumans. Well, how do you celebrate? There are no official ways to celebrate Therianthropy Day, but there are a few that our community likes to do. Like drawing the theta delta on your hand, public gearing, or doing vocals when the sun goes down. To celebrate, you don't have to do anything. Just acknowledge the day and celebrate this part of your identity. Now to answer this question, what does Therianthropy Day originate from? The origin of Therianthropy Day comes from the alt-horror werewolves unsent group's first howl, which was a Therian meetup. They had a group howl on the first full moon of November, which is why Therianthropy Day falls on a different day each year, because the full moon falls on a different one as well. This year, Therianthropy Day falls on November 15th. In 2025, it will fall on November 5th, and the year after that, it will be on November 25th. Next question! This person is asking, how would you describe being a Therian to somebody who isn't one? A Therian is somebody who identifies as a non-human animalistic being to a certain degree. Their therianthropy can be spiritual or psychological. Similar to being in the LGBTQIA+ community, you cannot choose your identity. Being a Therian is solely based off of uncontrollable animalistic experiences or behaviors. You can't pick to be a Therian. It is a subjective belief based off of personal experiences rather than scientific fact. Are you able to explain the different types of therianthropy? Like, are they emotionally connected or spiritually? Also, how do you know if you're a Therian? I think you meant psychological and spiritual rather than emotional. Psychological therianthropy can be briefly explained as either unusual brain wiring, unconscious brain responses to events that possibly have emotional trauma, or a combination of the two. In short, a psychological Therian is somebody who perceives themselves as an animal because that's how their brain and thoughts perceive them. Spiritual Therians believe they are spiritually an animal. A few examples can be reincarnation, a misplaced soul, dual souls, or a walk-in soul. Personally, my therianthropy is spiritual in the way that I believe my soul was meant to belong to an animal body rather than my own. This comment is a great comment because it's coming from a polytherian themselves. This is Penny. Go subscribe right now. What is a polytherian? Poly, the prefix meaning many or several, in this case means that these individuals have many stereotypes and identify as multiple animals. Do your parents support you being a Therian? How do they feel about you wearing gear in public? What are your stereotypes? My parents do support me being a Therian. They found out when I first gave them my social medias, and they don't understand, but they have acceptance and are supportive. My parents don't mind me wearing gear in public. My mom even encourages it on certain occasions, like the Renaissance Festival, Comic-Con, and other fun events. What are my stereotypes? So about that. A lot of you guys were asking about this, but you guys know as much as I do. I have no idea. Which is another reason why I wanted to make this video, to spread awareness that it is perfectly okay and valid not to know your stereotypes because it takes a long time to figure out your identity. How do I find Therian meets? This only applies if you are in the USA. Join my Discord server! Come join the USA Alterhuman Discord. All Alterhumans are welcome as long as you are in the United States. The link is in the description. If this isn't an option, search the internet. Go to events like the Renaissance Festival, Comic-Con, or furry conventions. Any tips when public gearing and getting harassed by angry teenagers? Coming from an angry teenager myself, ignore, ignore, ignore. Not trying to get into conflict is the best way to go about situations like these. If you don't react, they will most likely stop. If they don't, move on with your business and ignore them. What does it feel like to go through a shift? From my personal experience, as it varies for everyone, I get phantom shifts. I get a lot of fang shifts of like canine teeth, and I love to chew on things during these. For mental shifts, I feel my perspective start to change to one of an animal, and I feel at most free in this state. It's hard to explain. I experience other types of shifts that are a little bit too difficult to elaborate on, but if you'd like to see me try, let me know. How do you express your stereotypes, and how do you connect with it? I personally express and connect with my stereotypes by going outside as much as I can, getting connected with nature and feeling at home in my surroundings. I always allow myself to shift, and I don't try to suppress my shifting and let my therianthropy fully be. What is your favorite type of gear? Paws, masks, etc. My favorite gear is this blanket. I know. It's not what the typical gear is, but gear is anything. Gear is something that helps you connect with your stereotype, and for me, this blanket allows me to feel fur on my body once again, and it is my absolute favorite. This one was also a pretty popular one. How did you pick your channel's name? I used to believe that I had a coyote stereotype. I brainstormed names that start with C because of that. When I was younger, I had an obsession with the cicada bug, which not many of you know it's an insect. Somehow, I chose it and I went by Cicada the Coyote for a while, but now I'm just Cicada. Who inspired you into making YouTube videos? Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to create YouTube content. I remember my first mock YouTube video was when I was around the age of 5. I really enjoyed content from Dante DM, Lauren Z-Side, and Flamingo. I always wanted to make YouTube content, but when I was first introduced into the Therian community, there was a cool quadrobist, whom I don't really know the name of, that I really liked. They had around 2,000 subscribers when I first found them, and they were my first inspiration to start quadrobics. And that leads to now. How many masks do you have? I have 5 masks. This one from my dear friend Maya. Plastic waterproof mask. The first and only mask I've ever created. A bull mask I got from the Renaissance Fair. And of course, this mask from Wispy. Do you get phantom shifts, mental shifts, cameo shifts, or anything else? If so, which ones? Also, what are your stereotypes / alter-human types? I get phantom shifts and mental shifts, and a lot of these are in fact cameo shifts, which these have made finding my stereotypes a lot harder. I also get sensory shifts, voluntary shifts, and involuntary shifts. How does therianthropy affect your daily life? My therianthropy has grown on me a lot. It has become a normal thing in my day. It's always been here, but when I was first awakened, I found out I could point out all of my animalistic behaviors, what and how I was different from others, and it's overall made me happier because now I am fully able to understand myself. Do you have any pets? And if so, what are their names? I do have pets. I have 2 dogs, one named Rufus and one named Nokomis, and a cat named Pixie. Do you have a partner? And who's your favorite YouTuber? Unfortunately, I don't have a partner. But I am perfectly okay with that one. I do like somebody right now, though. And my favorite YouTuber is Jack Manifold. Could you explain therianthropy so I can explain the difference between furries and therians to my viewers confidently? Thank you for not wanting to be misleading. In simple terms, a therian is someone who identifies as an animal on a non-physical level. This is different from furries because furries just have an anthropomorphic character that they usually like to dress up as. How tall are you? About this tall compared to you, Simon? Yeah. Are you ever gonna make a face reveal? No. Only if I hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube! Just wondering, is there a limited amount of how many stereotypes you can have? There are no limits on stereotypes, and no one is invalid for having multiple or not knowing that they have one. A cladotherian is somebody who identifies as a whole group of animals, rather than just one in specific, leading to these individuals to usually having hundreds or thousands of stereotypes. Are you non-binary or agender? And is being a polytherian okay? I am non-binary, meaning I feel as my identity falls outside of the typical male or female gender category. I use they, them, and its pronouns, and of course, being a polytherian is more than okay, and definitely valid. Is it okay to feel 100% sure that I am a therian, but then it slowly fades away, and then I'm sure I'm a therian again, and it goes away all over again? This experience is 100% valid and definitely common. I have went through the exact same thing. A while ago, I fell into a deep depression that started to fade my animalistic experience, and I almost felt like I was pretending or gaslighting myself into being a therian because my mind was so broken. I then realized that those experiences weren't the case, and I was able to fall back into my therian mindset. Now I'm more comfortable with my identity, and when I start to feel like my stereotype isn't as prominent and not as expressive, I usually get a shift that helps me feel free again. When did you find out you were a therian? What's your favorite snack? Did you ever consider yourself famous when you first started being a content creator? What's the video that took the longest to film? I found out I was a Therian on April 12th of 2023. It was a very difficult day with my cat literally getting mauled to death by a dog. But then I felt as if she was there with me as I got her adventurous spirit that night. These experiences are unrelated, but later that night I started to identify as a Therian. I was already involved within the Therian community and previously was questioning it. My favorite snack is barbecue potato chips. I have not considered myself famous, and I don't now either. I know I am well known in the Therian community, but famous is a whole different word for it. The video that took the longest to film was probably the 24-hour challenge, as it took 24 hours. It also took the longest to edit. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. It's in between the 24-hour challenge and another video that I'm working on right now, because this one has taken a lot of months. Did you ever expect to get this far in your YouTube career? Are you proud of the spot that you are in? What are your goals and future plans for your channel? I've never really expected to make it anywhere. I do YouTube as a hobby because it makes me happy. I've always wanted to make it far in this and turn it into a form of a career or a stable job. But that has been a dream of mine and something that I never expected to accomplish. I am definitely proud of the spot that I am in, as before I quit, I only had 14,000 subscribers and didn't expect to make it farther than I did this time around. My goals for this channel is to pursue it outside of high school and make it into a stable career and something I can do for the rest of my life. I also plan on doing different types of content with the masks and the tails to get the Therian community normalized and for more people to take people like us into consideration. Thanks for being a fan for so long. Do all Therians have shifts? And did somebody else teach you how to do quadropics? No, not all Therians have shifts. Some just simply don't shift at all. Shifting is like a spectrum. You can either get no shifts or shift 24/7. Therianthropy is different for everyone, and every part of it is valid. Nobody else taught me how to do quadropics, as I don't really do quads. I used to, but not now. I was self-taught and just went based off of tutorials I saw on the internet. Can stereotypes be fluid? Stereotypes can in fact be fluid. Being a Therian is an identity, and you are a growing and shaping person. As you grow, your identity does too. That's why it is important to understand that if you had a stereotype at some point in your life, and it doesn't feel right anymore, that it is reasonable and valid to get a whole nother stereotype some later in your life. We can also connect fluid stereotypes to gender fluid, as it is definitely a thing and does happen to some of us. Do you ever feel insecure in public if you wear your mask in public? This is pretty funny, as the mask provides an opposite service for me. I feel more confident and excited to be around others. I have a total confidence boost when I'm wearing this, and at Comic-Con I was able to compliment and talk to people that I wouldn't if I didn't have the mask on. How does Therianthropy feel for you? Therianthropy is an adventure, and it makes me feel free. I love the thrill of being able to find out different things about myself as the days go by, and fully expressing myself in ways that make me the happiest I can be. When I shift, I can think nearly 100% normally, but there's just the animalistic thoughts that overpower them in importance, but I still hear my voice in my head. Is that normal? This is very typical and important to understand. If you do not have control over yourself when shifting, this is not normal and dangerous. A lot of misconceptions from the community comes from shifting. If you black out while shifting, please seek medical attention. To bring this back to the question, yes, this is normal, and this is the exact same way that my shifts go as well. What is the most misconception you've heard about Therianthropy? What is the rarest stereotype somebody has ever had that you've heard of? The biggest misconception is that Therianthropy is related to furries, or that we like to use litter boxes. Neither of these are true. Not all Therians are furries, and not all furries are Therians. People are trying to get litter boxes in schools because of service animals, not because of Therians. The rarest stereotype somebody has that I've heard of was a horseshoe crab. The person who had it was me. I was questioning being a horseshoe crab Therian for a while. Haven't met another one yet. What's the difference between Therian and otherkin? Otherkin is used as a broad term, when Therians are people who simply identify as animalistic beings. Otherkins are anything non-human, vampires, fairies, or even animals like us. There has been some misinformation that otherkin and Therian are different things, but in reality, otherkin is just used as an umbrella term. How did you know you were a Therian? I knew I was a Therian after months of research on Therianthropy. I was outside far into an adventure in the farmer's field, and I realized, damn, I really am a Therian, huh? I knew I was one after I knew the full definition after a long time of research on the internet outside of YouTube and social media. It is a personal discovery, and it is definitely the best one I've made. Do your research! I don't know if I'm a Therian or not. I run on all fours upstairs and I like to do quads. Sometimes I feel really connected to nature. I like making masks for fun too. Please help me, Cicada! None of these have to do with therianthropy. Masks are common for people to use as gear, but I don't consider them as gear personally, as they don't make me feel animalistic or connected with my theriotype. Being connected to nature does not mean you are a Therian. Therianthropy comes from involuntary experience, and in all of these it seems pretty voluntary. All humans are naturally connected to nature, as that is where we come from, and it's our home. How come nobody makes informational Therian content anymore? A lot of people don't make informational Therian content because of the lack of awareness within the community. You are able to find information content widespread across the internet outside of YouTube and other social medias, which is where the most facts are and where the most correct information is. If you all are interested in informational content from me, leave a dog emoji in the comments, and maybe I'll consider it. I'll try my best, but one person can't be your only source of reliable information. Be careful when researching not to spread misinformation. What's the meaning of life and everything that exists ever? The meaning of life is to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button! This was a fun video to make. Thank you all for participating and watching to the very end. I hope you all have a awesome day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!